And now we're going to get into what it is a fast day. And this will give you so much meaning for your day today. So much meaning for your day today. Listen to Rabbi Nachman on Tainus, on fasting. Listen to it. Fasting brings about an illumination of God's favor. And this is itself sweetens and nullifies harsh judgments. If you want to nullify harsh judgments in your life, fast. The act of fasting, it sweetens the din on a person's life. It sweetens din on a person's life, thereby averting the danger. Fasting protects against poverty, degradation, and shame, and leads to wealth. It also makes us worthy of experiencing miracles. The act of fasting brings about nisim, brings about hamtakas adinim, sweetens the din on top of the klal and a person's personal life. When a person goes through difficult things in their life and they have judgment after judgment after judgment, and they see things that are happening in their life, and they're like, oh my God, my mezuzahs are fine. I checked my mezuzahs, they're good. What's wrong with my life? Why is this happening to me? A lot of times, if they take upon themselves a fast, it will sweeten the judgment in their life. If you are fasting on a national level, like today is a national fast, the amount of people fasting today are not so many. Majority of the world is not fasting today. We are the few and far in betweens that are fasting. The ones that do have to fast are the ones that are not nursing, not pregnant, not sick, don't have some kind of illness that they have to take medication for. Okay, those are the ones that are not fasting. The ones that are actually healthy, if you are healthy in body and mind, you are obligated to fast today. Even if you're a female, you are obligated to fast today. Your fast, look at what it's doing for you and for what it's doing for the Jewish people. It draws down loving kindness, compassion, rachamim, and blessings are drawn down to the world. The main effect of a fast is accomplished through the charity one gives while fasting. If you are able to fast and also give tzedakah on the day that you are fasting, the amount of hamtakas adinim, the sweetness that you're causing the judgment to be, it sweetens the judgment so much that it's a combination of those two things together is very, very powerful, of giving tzedakah and fasting. Continuing. It says, the evil one, listen to this. The evil one attacks people with extra force. Okay, the evil one, which is the dark forces in the world, the Sitra Achra, the Yetzer Hara, the Satan. He attacks people with extra force during a fast and tries to make them angry in order to spoil it. One must be especially careful to avoid the fire of anger on a fast day. The main value of fasting lies in breaking the force of anger. When you are able to break, you're going to have a yetzer hara to get angry today. Things will make you angry. You're not eating. You're on edge. It's easier to get you upset. You didn't have your coffee. Like it's harder when a person fasts not to get angry. He says specifically on this day you are going to be attacked by the dark energies that surround you. They will attack you and they will try to get you to be angry, because if you get angry, the likelihood of you breaking your fast is high. Not even just breaking the fast, the likelihood of you just getting angry. And he says over here, be careful to avoid the fire of anger, because if you're able to avoid anger on this day, you're going to break the fire. The fire is the force of anger. Now, remember, this is something that we always learn in all these classes, and Kabbalah talks about this all the time. Anger is the number one thing that leads to poverty. Not just poverty in terms of what's going on in your bank account, that also, for sure. Poverty in terms of your marriage, poverty in terms of how well your kids are doing, poverty in terms of your health. Anger is the number one tool of the Sitra Achra to get you to be poor in all aspects of life. Today, specifically during a fast day, if you are able to stay composed and not get angry, not yell at them, not respond, you are literally turning off the fires of anger. Okay, specifically on a fast day, he's going to try to get you to break you, because the actual power that the fast has is the power of takata didim, to sweeten the judgment in your life, and bring you wealth and miracles in your life. So he's going to try to get you specifically on this day. Okay, next. Fasting brings a new radiance to the face and restores a person's wisdom. Your wisdom will be restored. The very Salam Elohim inside of you, the image of God, and makes it shine on your face. He will be held in awe and respect by those around him, and his enemies will fall before him. But in order to spread peace, it is necessary to give charity. Okay? on this day. Through fasting, it is possible to perfect our speech. The act of fasting perfects your speech. Remember, a lot of the reasons why we are in the situations that we're in is because our speech has been dulled down. We complain a lot. We gossip. We look at the bad. We do things, and these forces, these negative forces that cling to our speech when we gossip, when we complain, when we curse, when we are in that situation, they make our actual koach hadibur very, 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 very weak. And then prayer is not so strong. And then when we say things to ourselves like affirmations, like this is going to be good, and I know it's the actual force of speech, the koach hadibur is weakened. Fasting, when you fast, your act of fasting today strengthens your koach hadibur, gives back strength to your dibur, to your speech, to your act of speech. That means that it makes your brachos, that you blessing other people, blessing yourself, blessing God, prayer, anything that you say that comes out of your mouth is a lot more powerful when your speech is strengthened. Fasting strengthens our speech. I feel like a car salesman is trying to sell you on why it's so good to fast. It's so good to fast. Just that. Okay. So listen to the next one. Fasting has the power to resolve conflict, both physical and spiritual conflict. When a person is unable to pray or do what he should to serve God, this is conflict. We all know what it means to have internal conflict. We all know what it means to have this feeling inside where I'm feeling good, and all of a sudden I'm down in the dumps. Where I'm doing well, I'm taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Where there's this thing that's going on inside of me where I'm functioning, I'm doing well, I'm top of my life, I'm productive, I'm praying, I'm doing well, and I feel good, and all of a sudden I'm down in the dumps. That is called internal conflict, and that internal conflict gets he says resolves. It gets resolved by the power of fasting. Next, ready? This is my favorite one. Fasting revives the dead. The fast gives life to all the days that were spent in darkness, without true vitality. When a person wastes a day by doing no mitzvot or good deeds, or even worse, by doing evil, God forbid, then that day has no life. Remember that it says about Sarah Aminu, it says about her that she lived 127 days, right? And then the Torah is like, why does it say she lives 127 days? Because it goes to show us that Sarah Aminu, right? This is the book Advice, Rabbi Nachman. He brings it down from all different sources of Kabbalah. Sarah Aminu, it says about her that she lived 127 days of life is because it stresses the 127 because she lived every single day of her life. She was alive in her days. She was awake in her days. She understood what her days meant. She understood what her time on this world was. She lived her life. So it says she lived 127 days. Every single day of her life, she lived. Every single day of her life was alive. But days that we don't live those days, where we're God forbid, not just doing mitzvahs, but are doing bad things in those days, where we're not connected to ourselves, to our higher mission, to our goals, to the reason why we're in this world in the first place. When we forget, when we get caught up in the matrix, those days are called dead days. They're not alive. When a person goes up to the next world after 120, God can tell them, hey, you're 25 years old. And they're like, no, I'm 120. You lived 25 years of the 120 years of the time that you had on this world. Because the moments that we live are the moments that matter, is when we live, is when we really are alive. And it doesn't mean that you're like, yay, I'm alive. I'm like in Costa Rica, I don't know, like dancing. That's not necessarily what alive means. Alive means when you're aware and in touch with what it means to live. And the falling and the getting up and the falling and the getting up is also alive. Just because you fell doesn't mean that you're not alive in those moments. But it's the getting up and the changing and the recreating yourself over and over again that matters, that counts as life. It says here that on these days that are considered dead days, they're not considered days that count for us, God forbid. It has been killed, those days have been killed, but all these dead days are brought back to life by fasting. The more a person fasts, the greater the number of dead days he can revive. So fast longer. Fast deeply, fast with contention, fast with kavana. It hurts your tummy, your brain hurts, your mind it's just hurting you. You have a headache, you didn't drink your coffee. Good, be makdish it. Say, thank you, God. I'm sacrificing this headache, I'm sacrificing this rumbling tummy for you. Because for all those days that were dead days, the days that I killed, the days that I was in the dark, the days that I didn't know between right and wrong, the days that were not counted, today, this fast is bringing them back to life. Those days are going to count because the fast day brings those dead days back to life. It nourishes those days. It's crazy. The reason we fast after a bad dream is to draw joy over ourselves by means of fasting. The act of fasting brings down joy to our life. We get really, really confused when we think like, oh, this meal or that car or that vacation is going to give me this like sense of life. It's fleeting. It literally is as long as it lasts. That's how long it lasts. As long as it lasts. As long as I have that cheesecake in my mouth, that's as long I'm going to enjoy it. But the acts, the spiritual acts that we do that are hard, like today, like the fasting of today, like the getting up, like going through the day when you don't have anything in your hand and you're like, what's missing? What's missing? All day I was like, where's my coffee? Where's my coffee? What's missing? Right? And something is missing. But in the interim, what's being created and what's being built on the inside is going to give us something so much more long lasting. And that's the benefits of fasting.